effect on the players.
That's about it for the newspapers up for review. Let's get down to brass tacks by looking at Governor of Rivers State, Siminalayi Fubara, defecting from the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress. Governor Fubara announced this at a meeting at the government house in Port Harcourt. He also mentioned that he met President Tinubu to brief him on happenings on state. The governor, for Governor Fubara, his decision to move to the APC was born out of the continuous support he got from the president, as well as the interest of the state and its people.
We have the full support. We have a positive nod to live where we are because we didn't get any protection. To go to where the reason why we are still standing is because of that place. And the truth is, without Mr. President, there won't be any His Excellency Siminalayi Fubara. It would have been former. And we can't support Mr. President if we don't fully identify with him, not backyard support. So we have taken that decision today since we've gotten a pass. Everyone here who have followed me, who have suffered with me, our decision today, this evening, we are moving to APC.
Meanwhile, with less than 48 hours to the conduct of the Accord Party governorship primary election, Osun State Governor Adeleke has announced his defection to the party. He made the announcement of the government house at the government house in Osogbo while addressing members of the State Executive Council, top government officials, and the leadership of the Accord Party in the state. The governor says he joined the party over a month ago, and that is his move to the Accord Party would give him the platform to seek re-election and govern the state for another 4 years.
Excellency, as the national chairman of Accord, I hereby present officially your membership card to you.
Our party, Accord Party, is here to take over Osun government, of Osun governance, and sustain the delivery of good governance in our dear state. Since I joined the party more than a month ago, I have been fascinated by the philosophy of this great party. The focus on people's welfare should always be at the heart of public leadership. The primary essence of a government is the welfare and well-being of the people.
Governor of Osun State, Senator Adeleke deserves to be returned. He has done a lot. He's a light. And Excellency, I stand beside you today to tell you that you're a light which is on top of a hill, which can never be hidden.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks, getting more insight into this development coming from Osun State and River State by speaking with our in-house analyst, Sowunmi, which is very much present with us here in the studio. So we've seen it all. Accord Party in Osun State and that of River State, Governor Fubara, after facing serious animosity from his godfather, Wike, who is still a member of the PDP, and then we'll see what is happening at the national level. Is that to say that because there are some who are concerned about drifting to one-party state, and others are saying, there are still other oppositions, but is it finally unlocking South-South as a powerhouse for the APC come 2027?
look, what's really going on is trading places. We've had this before. You remember in 2003, virtually all the Southwest states, apart from Lagos State, was actually won by the PDP. Nobody was complaining about whether Nigeria was drifting towards a one-party state at that time. So what is really going on, it's more or less a replay of what happened in 2003. That's what you see going on in the South-South. It's just the theater that is different this time around. Now, in relation to Fubara, can you really blame Fubara? If anyone stays in PDP, who will sign your form? Look, the chairman and the secretary are both locked in legal battles in court, and the PDP constitution says that the two of them must sign. So who is going to sign the form? That is why you see Adeleke moving. In the case of Fubara, it's not even more or less relying on that. It's quite unfortunate in his own case. He felt justified that he had to leave the PDP because he was not fully supported. People have been suspecting that all along. He was more or less, left on his own by the PDP with just a few occasional support messages from the former elder statesman Edwin Clark and possibly Jonathan. The leadership of the PDP did not really intervene on his part, with a view to demonstrate solidarity with him. And he hinted so much in his speech, yesterday evening. And secondly, why did he choose to move to APC? He kept saying that, look, he got the succor from Mr. President, who saved him from being impeached. He was making, direct allusions to it to say, look, I would not have been the governor. I would be referred to as former governor, if not because Mr. President stepped in and he actually felt he had to show gratitude to Mr. President. So it's quite clear on his own case. He felt let down by his own party and he felt encouraged, by a different party. If you look at the Accords case again, on December 1st, Governor Adeleke resigned from PDP. He said it publicly, said he was resigning from that day from PDP. But now, in his own speech yesterday, he said he had resigned more than a month ago. He had joined Accord Party more than a month ago. As far back as November 3rd, is Adeleke saying that he was a member of two political parties in between November 3rd and December 1st, when he openly and he announced to Nigerians that he would be resigning from PDP. So what you see is that politicians are playing their game. Adeleke is aware of that rule that, look, you must have left, you must have joined the new party at least a month before, the primary. So he's actually playing on that. So it depends on what's on his own record with Accord Party and the letter sent to PDP. So, but these are part of the games politicians play one way or the other. But the fact of the matter is, Adeleke had no choice but to leave. He could not go to ADC because even Moshood Adeoti, Alhaji Moshood Adeoti, who was two-time SSG in Osun State, had to leave the ADC recently. Hold your thoughts,
Sowunmi. We are due for a break. We just have to quickly go on a quick break. When we come back, you continue, in your line of thought. Just stay with us here. As we've been discussing the defection from the PDP to the APC of Governor Siminalayi Fubara, and that of the Osun State Governor Adeleke, who defected from the PDP also to Accord Party. And in-house analyst Sowunmi has been helping us to make some sense of these defections. And then in your line of thought before we went to the break, you mentioned Moshood Adeoti and the role he has played in the PDP before he also left the party as well.
Oh yes, and then he eventually joined ADC. ADC itself is in problem in Osun. There's no way Adeleke will have moved to ADC. Moshood Adeoti currently is out of ADC. Over the same issue, the party has a major problem, in Osun, that's the ADC. So for Adeleke, Accord, it's a better option for him. And that's why I'm not surprised that he ended up in Accord, because I cannot see ADC, gaining wings, to fly in Osun. That's not the nature of the politics in Osun.
Olamide.
Well, we're all discussing, the chessboard right now, ADC, PDP, Accord, but I want to focus on the socio-political angle of this. Now, we know that essentially the Constitution is sort of silent on this. It's allowed. They're allowed to defect at any point, governors, right? Not lawmakers, not senators, but governors. They're allowed. But my question is this. it makes politics look transactional. For me, it's a democratic dilemma. When a governor is hopping from place to place, it shows that there is a lack of party discipline. It shows that there's an erosion of your ideology. It shows that you are more interested in personal survival than public service. And that worries me. And so for me, it's an inherent socio-political dilemma, this constant moving and this constant motion. What do you make of this?
If you look at, from an ideological standpoint, you would say, look, which of the parties are ideologically oriented? None. You can sleep in APC in the morning, wake up in PDP in the afternoon, and end up in Accord in the night, because the parties are not based, organized based on any ideology. That's a fact. It's an ordinary association.
So tell us what they're based on.
It's just an association of interest. And that's all. That's what political parties are all about. It's just an association, not anything dogmatic or organized in any other form along that line.
Yeah.
Now, what you see is that if you look at the case of Adeleke, what options? If your party's leadership at the national level are, factionalized, what options? Who is going to sign his form? The secretary of the PDP, Senator Yawu, is in court with the chairman. The chairman is in court against the secretary. There are two factions within the PDP, at the national level. So how would Adeleke, and there's a deadline of December 15, for nominations, to be submitted based on primaries. So what options? Who is going to organize the primaries? Who will supervise it? There were court decisions saying, don't do this, don't do that. So it's a big problem. So I can understand from that angle that it was forced on Adeleke. Yeah. Adeleke did not just choose to leave the PDP. The situation at the national level, the crisis in PDP, forced him to leave.
Yeah, we saw how Adeleke came into power. At the time, he was almost going to win. When Oyetola won his first term, then that permutation, that calculation, that agreement that was signed, or that the APC went into at the time, that helped Oyetola to garner some votes. When they did, I think they had to do as a rerun at the time.
Yes.
And then Ademola came in. Now Oyetola came in. Now we're looking at Ademola Adeleke, who is also going for second term. Do you think all odds are stacked against him, with the APC also having its own internal wranglings with the disqualifications of some party members?
Yes, maybe there's some internal disenchantment with the decisions to disqualify some aspirants. I don't know. Maybe you may be correct. Yeah. But what you need to look at is this. The current situation in Osun State favors two people. That's two structures. The incumbent, Adeleke, and the APC. Those are the two emerging solid structures in Osun State.
So Adeleke, regardless of the party he defects to?
It may affect Adeleke because Accord is not popular in Osun. They have to start afresh to now sell Accord to the electorates. Yeah. Most of the electorates are only, conscious of, or they are members of either APC or PDP. Yeah. So it's a long journey for Adeleke within a short distance that he has to do a lot of work to sell the Accord party. Otherwise, many of the electorates in Osun will get confused. They will end up voting for PDP, and APC could end up, winning the election.
Earlier on, Mr. Sowunmi, you made a very interesting statement, and I've never heard anyone describe it before. You said the PDP, you describe political parties essentially as a brand, which is very fascinating. You call them a brand. And so usually we're seeing, politicians, governors aligning themselves with these brands, right? But with the Accord party, it's the other way around. It's Governor Adeleke about to brand them. Do you think he's influential enough to give a turnaround to the Accord party?
No, well, if you look at the history of Accord party, I think they've had a governor in the past, the current Olubadan of Ibadan, Governor Rashid Ladoja, played a major role, in developing that party. And I remember they've had, at a point in time, they held, when Ajimobi was in power, they held the balance of power in the state legislature. So the party has always been there, devoid of crisis, one way or the other. And I feel that it has never gained the prominence, the national prominence that it should have. The momentum is so slow. It's always been on the fringes of elections. So, but this time around, I think the coming in of Adeleke may helped, to boost the membership of Accord, at least in Osun State. My own worry is that how do you overnight, reorientate people from APC PDP to now say is APC Accord? How many people will understand in Osun that, look, this is Accord, it's the same thing as PDP, or vote, instead of voting for PDP, vote for Accord. So, and the time is so short. So, it needs to do a lot of work on that aspect. Otherwise, you may end up seeing APC winning that election.
Absolutely. Well, it remains to be seen how the voters will, because in the midst of this, we have the voters, and some might feel betrayed because they feel they voted you into power based on the platform that you're in, and leaving that party to another platform could also, send a sort of voter betrayal sentiment. But we'll see what happens.
I will say this, as you guys know, I am from Osun State, and there's a focus on the persona of Adeleke himself. Yeah. I'm not saying that parties here are irrelevant, but when I relate with people, I see that there's our governor.
It remains to be seen.
I think that in Adeleke's case, people might see the persona before the party. He could have that chance.
2026 is just around the corner, but we have to call it a wrap on this segment for the next one coming up. Coming up on TVC Breakfast. After the break, we will focus on